The fluorescent lights of the grocery store hummed overhead as Marcus wheeled his cart down the cereal aisle, his 6-year-old daughter, Emma, chattering excitedly about the cartoon character on a box she wanted. He smiled absently, his mind half focused on his shopping list and half on the mountain of laundry waiting at home. Being a single dad meant every moment was a juggling act, but he wouldn't trade it for anything. Emma was his world, his reason for waking up each morning and pushing through the exhaustion that came with doing it all alone. As they rounded the corner toward the checkout lanes, Marcus noticed a woman standing at register 3. She couldn't have been much older than 30, with tired eyes and shoulders that seemed to carry the weight of the world. In her cart sat a little boy, maybe 4 years old, clutching a worn, stuffed rabbit. The child's shirt was clean but faded, and his shoes had seen better days. What caught Marcus's attention, though, wasn't their appearance, but what the mother was doing. She was counting pennies. Her hands trembled slightly as she separated the copper coins into small piles. On the conveyor belt, her lips moving silently as she tallied the amount. The cashier, a teenage girl with bright blue hair, waited with thinly veiled impatience, occasionally glancing at the growing line behind the woman. Marcus watched as the mother's face flushed crimson, embarrassment painting her cheeks as she counted and recounted, her fingers fumbling with the small change. "Mommy, can we get the cookies?" the little boy asked, pointing to a package of store-brand sandwich cookies already on the belt. The woman's voice was barely a whisper. "Not today, sweetie." "Maybe next time?" The boy's face fell, but he didn't argue. He simply hugged his rabbit tighter and nodded, a gesture of understanding that no 4-year-old should have to master. Marcus felt something twist in his chest. He knew that look. He'd seen it in his own mirror 3 years ago, right after his wife left, when he'd had to choose between paying the electric bill or buying Emma new shoes for school. The mother finished counting. "I have $47.63, she said to the cashier, her voice shaking. "Can you please tell me the total before you finish ringing everything up? I need to make sure I have enough." The cashier sighed audibly and began scanning items with deliberate slowness. Marcus watched the woman's face as the total climbed. $30, $40, $45. When it hit $48.27, the woman's eyes welled with tears. "Stop," she said quietly. "I need to put something back." She started scanning the items she'd just paid for to be bagged, mentally calculating what she could do without. Her hands hovered over a small package of ground beef, then moved to a bag of apples, then to a loaf of bread. Everything was essential. Everything mattered. The cookies had already been removed from the equation, Marcus noticed. They sat at the end of the belt, abandoned. "The chicken," she finally said, her voice cracking. "I'll put back the chicken." It was a small package, marked down because the sell-by date was tomorrow. Maybe $3 worth of protein that would have stretched into several meals. The little boy watched his mother with wide, knowing eyes, and Marcus saw him squeeze his rabbit even tighter. That's when something inside Marcus broke open. He'd been there. God, he'd been exactly there. He remembered standing in a similar line 4 years ago, holding Emma's tiny hand, deciding between diapers and groceries, feeling the weight of judgment from every person behind him. He remembered the shame, the sense of failure, the desperate mathematics of poverty that reduced life to pennies and hard choices. He also remembered the stranger, who had quietly stepped forward that day and paid for his groceries, without fanfare or pity, just a simple nod and a whispered, "We've all been there, brother." Marcus had never forgotten that moment. He'd promised himself that when he got back on his feet, he'd pay it forward. "Emma," he whispered to his daughter, "stay right here for just a minute, okay?" Before he could second-guess himself, Marcus walked up to register 3, reached into his wallet and pulled out his credit card. The mother was still trying to decide what else to remove from her order when Marcus gently placed his card on the counter. "Excuse me," he said softly to the cashier. "Can you ring up her total and add this?" He reached back to the abandoned cookies and placed them with the woman's groceries. "Put it all on my card, please." The woman turned to him, confusion and alarm flashing across her face. "What? No, I can't. You don't have to." "I know I don't have to," Marcus said, meeting her eyes with a gentle smile. "But I'd like to. Please, let me do this." "Sir, I don't even know you." "I can't accept." 3 years ago, I was standing in your exact shoes," Marcus interrupted gently. Different store, same situation, same feeling in my gut. Someone helped me when I needed it most, and they told me the only thing I had to do was pass it on someday when I could. I'm just keeping a promise. Tears spilled down the woman's cheeks, and she covered her mouth with her hand, overwhelmed. The little boy looked between his mother and Marcus with wide, uncertain eyes. The cashier, previously impatient, had gone completely still. Her expression softened. I don't know what to say, the woman managed. You don't have to say anything, Marcus replied. Just promise me that someday, when you're in a position to help someone else, you'll do it. That's all? The transaction took less than 2 minutes. $52.38. To Marcus, it was a manageable dent in his budget, money he'd set aside for takeout that week. To this woman, it was clearly everything. As the cashier bagged the groceries, the mother reached out and touched Marcus's arm. Thank you, she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. You have no idea what this means. My husband? He lost his job 6 weeks ago. I've been stretching everything, but this week I came up short. I just wanted to feed my son something decent, you know. Her voice broke and Marcus felt his own eyes burning. I know, he said simply. I really do know. The little boy suddenly perked up, noticing the cookies had reappeared in their bags. Mommy, the cookies! We got the cookies! His mother laughed through her tears, a sound of pure relief and joy. She lifted her son from the cart and hugged him tightly. Yes, baby. We got the cookies. As Marcus returned to Emma, his daughter looked up at him with curious eyes. Daddy, why did you do that? Marcus knelt down to her level, placing his hands on her small shoulders. Because, sweetheart, kindness is the most important thing we can give each other. That mommy was having a really hard day, and we had the chance to make it better. Someday someone might help you when you need it. And someday, you'll help someone else. That's how we take care of each other. Emma nodded seriously, then brightened. Can we give her some of our cereal, too? Marcus chuckled and ruffled her hair. I think we helped enough for today, kiddo. But I love that you asked. As they checked out at another register, Marcus glanced back and saw the woman loading her groceries into her cart, her movements lighter somehow, as if a burden had been lifted. She caught his eye and mouthed, "Thank you," one more time, her hand over her heart. Marcus nodded and turned away, a warmth spreading through his chest that had nothing to do with the recognition and everything, to do with the simple act itself. That night, as he tucked Emma into bed, she surprised him with a question. Daddy, was Mommy like us before she left? Did she have to count pennies too? Marcus paused, choosing his words carefully. Everyone struggles sometimes. What matters is how we treat each other when times are hard. That's what makes us good people. I want to be a good people, Emma declared firmly. You already are, sweetheart, Marcus whispered, kissing her forehead. You already are. As he closed her bedroom door and headed to tackle that mountain of laundry, Marcus thought about the chain of kindness that had started years ago with a stranger's generosity and continued today in a grocery store checkout line. He thought about the mother who would feed her son dinner tonight without sacrificing something essential, about the little boy who got his cookies after all, about the teenager behind the register who had witnessed something that might change how she saw the world. We're all just one bad month away from counting pennies, Marcus reflected, and we're all just one act of kindness away from remembering our shared humanity.